Have you ever witnessed a moment so unexpected, so powerful, that it shook not only the room but every heart inside it? Stay with me till the very end of this story, because what started as a challenge between two unlikely people, a billionaire biker lady and a struggling single dad veteran, turned into something unforgettable. And before we dive deep, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because stories like these remind us that strength, love, and humanity exist in the most surprising places. The event was meant to be flashy, a charity showcase organized by the famous Lady Biker Billionaire, a woman known not just for her fortune but for her bold personality and her love for pushing boundaries. Her name was Alina Cross. She wore leather jackets over million-dollar outfits, rode into events on custom motorcycles worth more than houses, and never backed away from a challenge. People loved her because she wasn't the typical billionaire hidden in a boardroom. She was raw, fearless, and unapologetically herself. On the other side of the story was James Miller, a single dad and retired Army veteran. Life hadn't been kind to him after his service. He carried the scars of war, not just on his body but deep inside his soul. Raising his little daughter Emily on his own, working long shifts at a warehouse just to keep food on the table, James wasn't the kind of man you'd ever expect to see in a billionaire's spotlight. But fate has strange ways of bringing people together. The event that night was a mix of entertainment and charity sparring matches, light-hearted bouts meant to raise money for underprivileged kids. Celebrities, athletes, and even a few business tycoons stepped into the ring to show off, but no one really expected anything serious. Then Alina, with her fierce eyes sparkling under the stage lights, pointed toward the crowd and said, "I want a real challenge. Not someone who just wants to look good in front of cameras. Who here dares step into the ring with me?" The room went silent. People chuckled nervously, no one daring to meet her gaze. And then, from the back of the hall, James stood up. He didn't want the attention. He didn't want the spotlight. But he saw Emily watching him with wide, hopeful eyes, and something inside him whispered, "Show her who you are." The crowd parted as James walked forward, his plain shirt soaked with sweat from a long day of work. He looked nothing like the glamorous figures around him, but there was a quiet strength in his posture, the kind of strength that doesn't need to scream. When he stepped into the ring, the billionaire biker lady smirked. "You sure about this, soldier?" she asked. "I've been through worse," he replied calmly. The sparring began, and at first, the audience laughed, thinking it was just for show. But within moments, the mood changed. Alina moved fast, her strikes sharp and powerful, but James countered with discipline and control. He wasn't aggressive, he was measured, tactical, the way a man trained for survival fights, not entertainment. The sound of gloves hitting gloves, the shuffle of feet on the mat, and the intensity in their eyes silenced the room. Alina, for all her skill and pride, found herself genuinely tested. Every time she landed a hit, James absorbed it with grit. Every time she tried to surprise him, he adapted. It wasn't about dominance for him, it was about resilience, about showing his daughter that you never back down when life challenges you. Minutes turned into what felt like an eternity. Finally, after one last exchange, Alina lowered her gloves. She wasn't defeated, but she was moved. Her chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, and for the first time in a long while, her eyes softened. She extended her glove toward James, not as an opponent, but as a sign of respect. The crowd erupted, not because someone had won, but because they had just witnessed something rare, two completely different worlds colliding in pure honesty. A billionaire and a broken veteran, teaching everyone that strength isn't about money or fame, it's about heart. When James stepped down from the ring, little Emily ran into his arms, tears in her eyes. "Daddy, you were amazing," she whispered. And in that moment, every hardship he had endured felt worth it. He hadn't just fought in the ring, he had fought for her pride, for her belief in him, for a reminder that her father was a hero not just of the past, but of the present. Alina watched them quietly, her expression unreadable. Later that night, she approached James. You've got more fight in you than most of the billionaires I know, she said softly. Tell me, what do you really want out of life? James hesitated, then admitted the truth. He just wanted to give his daughter a better future, something stable, something beyond endless shifts and survival. That's when Alina did something no one expected. She offered him a role in her foundation, not out of pity, but because she saw in him what money could never buy: honor, loyalty, and true strength. The story spread far beyond that room. People who watched it live couldn't stop talking about the billionaire biker lady who was humbled by a single dad veteran. It wasn't about wealth versus struggle anymore, it was about respect, humanity, and the reminder that we all carry battles no one else sees.